All right, let's talk about that bit of magic that makes some websites feel truly alive. You know, the professional-grade web animation that just wows you. If you've ever seen a site that moves and breathes, well, you're about to learn the secret behind it all. You know when you're scrolling through a site and an infographic just comes to life? Maybe an icon smoothly morphs into a completely different shape, or text seems to draw itself right there on the screen? It feels less like a web page and more like this cool interactive story. So how on earth do they do that?
Well, the answer, 9 times out of 10, is GSAP, the GreenSock Animation Platform. This is the secret sauce. It's this incredibly high-performance JavaScript library that powers the mind-blowing animations on so many award-winning websites. It really is the engine behind all that on-screen magic.
Okay, so how does this powerful engine actually work? You might be surprised to hear that even the most complex, breathtaking animations are built from just 2 really simple, fundamental ideas. So let's dive into the basics.
Every single animation in GSAP starts with something called a tween. And don't worry, the name sounds way more technical than it actually is. A tween is just the animation of a property, like moving something's position or changing its color from point A to point B over a certain amount of time. It's like the single atom of every animation.
Let's make that more concrete. Picture the big hero section at the top of a website. With GSAP, you can create a super polished entrance in basically 3 steps. First, you target something, like your main headline. Second, you just tell it what its final state should be. You know, an opacity of 1 and a vertical position of 0. And third, you just sequence these little tweens together. That's it.
And that's where the second core concept comes in handy, the timeline. A timeline is kind of like a film director's shot list for all your tweens. It's this container where you can sequence everything perfectly, make animations overlap, and just manage the whole performance as one cohesive thing. It gives you total control over the entire scene.
So you might be thinking, why not just use CSS for this? And honestly, it all comes down to performance. GSAP is absolutely obsessed with speed. It uses properties like X and Y, which tap directly into your computer's GPU, giving you silky smooth animations. On the other hand, traditional CSS properties like top and left can force the browser to constantly recalculate the page layout, and that's what leads to that awful stutter or jank we've all seen.
Okay, so we've got the basics down. We can create animations. But what happens when we want them to react to what the user is doing? Well, that's where things get really cool.
This is where the real fun begins. Let me introduce you to ScrollTrigger. It's a GSP plugin that lets you connect your animations directly to the user's scroll bar. I mean, that simple idea just unlocks an entire universe of interactive storytelling. Your web page becomes this living canvas that responds as someone journeys down the page.
And what can you do with it? Oh man, so much! You can trigger simple fade-ins as things scroll into view. You can pin a whole section in place for really dramatic effect while other content scrolls over it. You can scrub an animation, which means its progress is literally tied to how far you've scrolled. You can even handle hundreds of these animations at once, super efficiently. It's wild.
Now, the core library and ScrollTrigger are already super powerful, but GSAP's true superpower? That's got to be its massive ecosystem of plugins. This is so smart because it keeps the main library tiny and fast, but lets you pull in unbelievable power for specific jobs. Let's run through a few rapid fire.
First up, Flip. You ever see a photo gallery where the items just magically and smoothly reorder themselves? Flip figures out where an element starts and where it ends up, and then creates this perfect seamless animation between those 2 states. It's incredible.
Next, SplitText. This is for those epic cinematic headlines where the words or even individual characters animate in one by one. It does all the hard work for you, breaking your text into these perfectly positioned little pieces that you can animate however you want.
What if you don't want to animate in just a straight line? No problem. MotionPath lets you animate pretty much anything along a complex, curvy, custom SVG path. Think of a little rocket ship icon following a winding path on a map. Yep, that's MotionPath. And finally, one of the most mind-bending ones, MorphSVG. This plugin lets you take one vector shape and just seamlessly morph it into a totally different one, even if they don't have the same number of points. It is pure, unadulterated animation magic.
Okay, let's just pause for a second and let that sink in. Each plugin is like a specialized tool built to solve a really common animation problem. Whether it's animating layout changes with Flip, telling stories with ScrollTrigger, or making cinematic text with SplitText, GSAP has a dedicated professional tool for the job.
Now, all this power is great, but a tool is only useful if it actually fits into your daily workflow, right?
So the big question is, does GSAP play nicely with the way we all build websites today? Well, the answer is a huge, resounding yes.
It seriously doesn't matter what your favorite framework is. GSAP is ready to roll. It's got first-class support for React, Vue, Svelte, and all their bigger frameworks like Next.js and Nuxt. And of course, it works perfectly with just plain old vanilla JavaScript. It was built from the ground up to work everywhere.
And it's not just compatible, it's deeply integrated. For all you React developers out there, for instance, there's a special useGSAP hook. It makes managing your animations inside of React components just dead simple. It even handles all the cleanup automatically, so you never have to worry about memory leaks. It just works.
So let's pull all this together. We've gone from a simple tween all the way up to powerful, interactive, scroll-based animations. We've even seen how GSAP fits perfectly into the entire modern web development landscape. We've covered a ton of ground.
And here's the thing, when it comes down to it, GSAP is so much more than just a library. It's a professional, performance-obsessed toolkit that's designed to just get out of your way and let you create. It gives you the power to bring your creative imagination to life right there on the screen.
Look, it's the professional standard for a reason. It's powerful, it's reliable, and it opens up this entire universe of creative possibilities. So now that you know the tool that powers the absolute best animations on the web, the only question left is, what will you create?